How long have you known about Andrew and Epstein? Have you asked the police to cover up for Andrew? Have you asked the police to cover up for Andrew? What do you think? Should the MPs be allowed to debate the lawyers in the House of Commons?
Well, after weeks of pressure, there has been a dramatic escalation in the scandals surrounding Andrew, formerly known as Prince Andrew, of course. The King finally took decisive action, releasing a statement via Buckingham Palace for the first time addressing the drama surrounding his brother. I'll read that statement for you. It said that His Majesty has today initiated a formal process to remove the style, titles and honours of Prince Andrew. Prince Andrew will now be known as Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor. His lease on Royal Lodge has to date provided him with legal protection to continue in residence. Formal notice has now been served to surrender the lease and he will move to alternative private accommodation. These censures are deemed necessary, notwithstanding the fact that he continues to deny the allegations against him. Their Majesties wish to make clear that their thoughts and utmost sympathies have been and will remain with the victims and survivors of any and all forms of abuse. Now that is nothing short of a bombshell statement from the King, who, as I mentioned, this is the first statement that he has released in regards to the scandals that have been surrounding Andrew, which really have dragged on for years, although it has been snowballing in recent weeks for a variety of reasons. First of all, Virginia Giuffre, who publicly accused Andrew of sexual abuse while she was a sex trafficking victim of Jeffrey Epstein. She claims they had 3 sexual encounters, one when she was just 17, and she's released her memoir posthumously as she tragically died earlier this year.
He wasn't mean or anything, but he got up and he said thanks and walked out, and I had just been abused by a member of a royal family. So when you talk about these chains, I wasn't chained to a sink, but these powerful people were my chains.
So there was that factor. There's also been a variety of leaked emails that have come forward which have undermined Andrew's account of his relationship with Jeffrey Epstein. He said famously in that train wreck interview in 2019 that he had cut off all contact with the convicted sex offender in late 2010 when those infamous pictures of him in New York with Epstein emerged. These leaked emails that came out recently proved that they had spoken and seemed to have quite a tight relationship still, at least 12 weeks after that, seemingly indicating that there was an ongoing relationship.
And I went to see him, and I was doing a number of other things in New York at the time, and we had an opportunity to go for a walk in the park, and that was the conversation, coincidentally, that was photographed, which was when I said to him, I said, look, because of what has happened, I don't think it is appropriate that we should remain in contact.
There's also been emails that have shown that Andrew spoke about passing on Virginia Giuffre's personal details, including her social security number, to his taxpayer-funded Royal Protection Officer in order to dig up dirt on his then accuser. So there's a variety of things, and this has all really culminated in an extraordinary amount of public pressure on the royal family, who had for a long time managed to sort of not be tarnished by Andrew's reputation there, but this had really become a crisis for the monarchy as they were seen not to be taking a firm enough stance on Andrew. So that has been the dramatic escalation in this drama. But what does this all mean? First of all, we have to get used to saying Andrew, not Prince Andrew, not the Duke of York. He's also lost his Knight of the Order of the Garter honour, which is the highest chivalric order in the UK. That's now going to be stripped away as well. As that statement mentioned, he has been holding on for dear life to Royal Lodge, where he's lived since 2004. His ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, has relinquished her title, Duchess of York. She's lived there since 2008. So he had a cast iron lease that could have seen him stay there till 2078, but that is now being formally taken from him, and he will move to the King's private residence in Sandringham. Now, crucially, this means that Andrew will no longer be seen as a drain on the taxpayers in any way, which is a really important point, particularly for the optics, but no one wanted to be paying for Andrew when he's mired by this scandal. He has denied all allegations against him, but at the very least, he's shown extraordinarily bad judgment. So that is really important. The King will be privately funding that, and he will be in Norfolk in England. We don't know exactly which residence on that estate he'll be living in. The crucially is the last part of that statement, which, you know, in the dramatic announcements in the first part, the third part got a little lost a bit there, but it is something important to focus on. It says their majesties. So first of all, it's bringing Queen Camilla into the fold in this statement, and she's done a lot of work to shine a light on the victims of sex abuse. And so this was a really important thing that she's now seen to also be taking a stand again against these allegations with her brother-in-law. So she's obviously become part of that. And again, it was the king weighing in directly on the claims that have been made about Andrew. So this was a really dramatic statement. You know, he's been in free fall reputationally for years, but it seems like Andrew's fall is probably now almost complete, as everything pretty much is being taken away from him. What's next? Well, as I say, he'll be living at Sandringham. It seems like he and Sarah Ferguson will part ways in terms of their living arrangements. She's been his #1 supporter all of these years, and she's described him as a sad man, and almost, I think it's been indicated that she cares for him in terms of looking after him. So he'll be living alone. You've got to imagine that's going to be quite a solitary, lonely life. And moving forward, I think it's very fair to say that we will not be seeing Andrew in public life, certainly not through work. That's been off the cards for years, but we have seen him more and more at sort of private family events. But these ones are, of course, seen by the world's media. When the photos are taken, for example, at the Duchess of Kent's funeral, he was there front and centre in that very awkward exchange with Prince William. You may recall seeing the footage where William seemed very uncomfortable to be talking to his uncle in front of the cameras, at least. And so we won't be seeing any more of that. You've got to imagine he will now be really on the outs. And crucially, the royal family, and the king particularly, have made their position clear now, and they do appear to be on the right side of this story. There was incredible public pressure on them to act. It was a conversation that was being had in Westminster and among members of parliament, and this was becoming a true crisis for the monarchy, as they had to be seen to take a stance and to make their position clear, and that has now happened. As the pressure grew, it was clear that the monarchy was not seen to be doing enough. It certainly feels like, with all of the royal family out and about with some major events, including Remembrance Day activities. But crucially, also, William is currently in Brazil, in Rio de Janeiro, for the Earthshot Prize, which is his major event of the year. They describe it as William's Super Bowl. So he's in the midst of that, and he's generating a lot of headlines and a lot of publicity for this cause, which he's so passionate about. And he'll be hoping that, you know, the scandal of Andrew with that statement will be leaving that in the past, so to speak. Look, it's certainly still daily coverage, wall-to-wall coverage here, but it does feel that action has now been taken, and there has been a return to focus on the royals' work in some way. So that's been probably, well, definitely what the royal family was hoping for and hoping to achieve with that statement. So we'll just have to wait and see what else unfolds. There's a feeling that possibly we still don't have the full story of what's going to be coming out about Andrew in the coming weeks or months or potentially even years, and that's what we'll have to just wait and see.
Yeah, I think stuff to do with family overwhelms me quite a bit. You know, worry or stress around family side of things, that does overwhelm me quite a bit. But in terms of, you know, doing the job and things like that, I don't feel too overwhelmed by that. Not now anyway. When I was younger, yeah, there are bits that overwhelm you, a bit like, whoa, are we actually doing this? Is this sort of happening? But with time and age, I think you feel a bit more settled in that side of things, and you go, actually, I could do that.